Thank you. I love it.
The budget hearing has come to order. The purpose of this meeting is to hear from the public, to receive input on the superintendent's proposed budget for the 2016-17 fiscal year. Please note, we are here to listen to your comments. The board will not engage in any conversation this evening, but this is only to hear your comments. And so I will call, I have a list of 9 speakers, and the first one is Tahiani Bernal. Am I pronouncing that correctly? All right. You may come up to speak. You have a couple of minutes. 2 minutes to speak.
Hi, I'm Tayana Bernard. I'm a single mom, and I came to talk about my daughter. She's going to talk for me. Habla, mami.
Okay, my name is Catherine Henriquez. I'm representing my sister and a lot of students with special needs that go to a school called Edison. I've been hearing and complaints that Edison's program with the one-on-one with special education students is very lacking improvements. I have a sister with autism, and if some of you guys don't know what autism is a disability. She goes to Edison, and I'm not saying my sister hasn't improved, but she's improved a little, yeah. But I would like to see more of an improvement from my sister. I would like to see more help for other kids with the same disability as my sister. I mean, they're innocent kids. They have no reason to not get the help that their parents want, because what do they know? I mean, some of them don't even know how to defend themselves. I also want to tell you guys that there's a story about an autistic guy. He was sent to school. He got a lot of help. People thought that he wasn't going to be successful. They keep saying that he was going to be a nobody, that he was worthless, that just because he had autism, he wasn't going to get anywhere. That autistic kid became a doctor, a surgeon, and helped so many people. And many people neglected him because he was autistic, and they said that he wasn't going to be my doctor because he is autistic, and he's not going to do anything to help him. He saved 9 lives his first day of being a surgeon. I want to see my sister and many other kids with autism in that exact same place. Not being a doctor, but successful. Because we had many slaps in the face saying that my sister isn't going to be nobody. But I definitely have hopes for them and many kids with autism.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Gloria Sabas. Gloria Sabas. Good evening.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Gloria Sabater.
Her name is Gloria Sabater.
Estoy aquí porque tengo 3 niños con condición
She's here because she had 3 kids with condition.
y he pasado varias situaciones con mis 2 niñas mayores
With the 2 oldest girls, she have few things.
y estoy frustrada por la situación que está pasando en la escuela 22.
And she's frustrated for the situation that happened, like the one that happened in school 22.
A mi hija mayor,
For the oldest daughter,
la maestra en el salón de clase,
the teacher in the room,
buscando algo que se le habían robado del salón,
looking for something that some kid stole from the room.
lo habían escondido en el bulto de mi hija.
They hide it in the girl bag.
Ella cogió a mi hija y le fracturó el brazo.
She took her daughter and she fractured her arms.
He venido aquí al distrito, he hablado con diferentes personas,
She's been here in the district. She's been talking to different people,
con María Encarnación, Wanda Pedraza,
like María Encarnación,
David
Wanda
Kenneth.
Pedraza, David Kenneth.
Me han dicho que me van a ayudar y no han hecho nada.
They promise her that they're going to help her, but they don't do anything for her.
Mi hija todo el tiempo me dice que ya no quiere vivir más nada, que ella no quiere volver a la escuela.
Her daughter told her that she don't want to live anymore. She's afraid she don't want to go back to school.
Tengo la otra pequeña
She have another daughter,
en la escuela 17.
school 17.
Ella padece de convulsiones.
She was suffering a convulsion for about,
Tuvo una convulsión de hora y media.
she was a convulsion for hour and a half.
Estaba orinada encima debido a la convulsión.
She peed inside, in her,
La maestra la dejó ahí
and
y
the
siguió
teacher,
dando
they
la
don't do
clase.
nothing to her, and they don't listen to her.
Y después me llamaron, después de una hora y media, que yo llegué a la escuela a explicarme que no sabían lo que había pasado con mi hija.
Then hour and a half later, they call her, they explain to her, telling her that they don't know what happened to the daughter.
Debido a las convulsiones, mi hija ha perdido parte de aprender
Because their condition, she don't want to learn anymore, she don't want to listen.
y la maestra tiene un bullying con ella en el salón.
And the teacher have a bullying with her.
Se pasa diciéndole que es bruta, que ella nunca va a aprender.
She's telling her that she's dummy, that she's never gonna learn.
Excuse me, that's not what she says. I'm sorry, but that's not what she says.
Well, let me just say this, there's only a few seconds left.
Fue lo que ella dijo.
¿Y qué fue lo que ella dijo?
Ella dijo que la nena.
Ma'am, let them finish, and if there's ever information, the superintendent is here, you could talk to the superintendent. Because her time is ending.
Repito, no te apures. Okay, dilo.
You could talk to, if it's not what she's saying, you could speak with the superintendent. Okay. All right.
La maestra se pasa diciendo que ella es bruta, que ella nunca va a aprender.
The teacher said that she's dummy, that she's never gonna learn.
Y ella viene, llama al niño a mi hijo, que es de primer grado,
And she came and she called her son. He's
Al
at
otro
first grade,
salón.
in the other room.
lo pone en speaker
They put their boy in the speaker
para que dé la contestación que la maestra quiere saber,
to give the answer, the one the teacher was looking for.
humillando a mi hija al frente de todo el grupo.
Try to put the little girl down in front of the whole group.
Every day mi hija llega a mi casa
Her daughter came home.
llorando que no quiere volver a la escuela
She was crying that she don't want to go back to school
porque ella no la quieren en la escuela y que porque ella es latina, la maestra la discrimina todo el tiempo.
because she's a Latino and the teacher discriminate with her all the time.
All right. Now, let me just ask, now this is a budget hearing, you understand this is a budget hearing.
Esto
So what
es
we'll do
budget.
is, it's about the money of the district. We can have the superintendent who's here
Del dinero.
to follow up with you about your concerns.
Diga lo tuyo.
All right?
El
Okay.
budget
All
de la
right,
escuela.
all right. And if you don't think she is, if he's not interpreting correctly, would you follow up with the superintendent? Okay. All right, okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. GC. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Giancarlo Giannini. I'm the parent rep on the Board of Education Finance Committee. I'm here to give some perspectives from the Parent Advisory Council on the budget and some of the items in the budget. So I want to start out, the Parent Advisory Council definitely supports a lot of the initiatives that the district is doing this year. More and better learning time, reading by third grade, instructional excellence, especially the things that really put some positive engagement with the students in sports, music, arts, and the other extracurricular activities. Many parents feel, a different topic, that expeditionary learning, Montessori, the IB program are very critical. They're gems within the district, and they really foster a fantastic learning experience for students and really help keep students and parents engaged in the district. So want to ensure that the funding for those programs continues. PAC passionately supports the restorative practice initiatives that were identified by the Community Task Force on School Climate, and want to make sure that the appropriate funding is in the budget for those initiatives. Some of the specific things, the code of conduct implementation, the additional social and emotional support for students, and some of the corresponding professional development for teachers, and any development that includes any anti-racism training also. As we were going through the budget and we see the gap, one of the things we were very concerned about was the additional money, the raise that was awarded through the RTA collective bargaining agreement. The 3.6% we felt was excessive when you compare that with the raises that are typically handed out in the public sector and the private sector. Most folks are getting maybe in the 2.5% range. There was probably an opportunity here to look at saving some money over the course of time to the tune of $4 or $5 million if that was more in line. And we were somewhat concerned that not having that money may impact some of the funding for the restorative practices. So a concern there from the parents that we'd really like to see closed. In closing, we know there's some difficult decisions that need to be made to balance the budget, and we request that any necessary staffing reductions are made as far from the students and their needs as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ebony McLarty?
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
My name is Ebony McLarty, and I'm the mother of 5 children in the Rochester City School District. Well, actually, 4 in the City School District. And what every child in Rochester deserves, including my own, is an adult who looks out for them in school. Building trust, listening to students, and meeting their needs does more for education than any metal detector, police officer, or ISS room ever has. So why do we spend millions on what is failing and criminalizing our students while we cut back on what works? Every school should have a place where a student can calm down and talk to someone. Whether you call it a help zone or an alternative to suspension room, the important thing is that it is properly staffed with someone trained to talk with students, find them services, and de-escalate whatever is the situation may be. This should not be known as the ISS room, which is in-school suspension. I'm sure you know that. We warehouse too many students in rooms and program schools. When that does not break them down enough, we kick them out of school completely. We know keeping kids in school and engaged keeps them on track to graduate. So many of the suspensions and arrests we see in school start out from something minor. Focusing on building relationships through a restorative justice coordinator will be an important first step. I know out of nearly $900 million you plan to spend next year, there is money to invest in building relationships. The push out of students is ruining this community. Every day, more children are dropping out and many are ending up in jail or worse. I hope you create a budget that invests in the programs necessary to break down the school-to-prison pipeline. It is up to you on the board. Please do the right thing. Thank you, guys. Have a
Thank
great
you.
night.
Lois Geis? Lois Geis? Oh, excuse me, not Lois Geis. Jacqueline Katie, excuse me. Lois, you're next. How you doing? No. Jackie, go first, and the other ones can come later. Yeah, no.
Hello, I'm Jackie Katie. I am the past chair of the Early Childhood Development Initiative, and I'm currently the co-chair of the Curriculum Committee, which is a subcommittee of Rock the Future, the Ready for School group. I am here to ask you to keep the budget for the kindergarten to second grade curriculum development and implementation. The early education community has objected to the existing kindergarten to 2 curriculum for several years. Many of you are familiar with our concerns and complaints about this. That curriculum is historically inaccurate. It is irrelevant to our children's culture. It is not engaging. It's not developmentally appropriate. The Rock the Future Ready for School network formed a committee regarding this curriculum in the fall of 2015. We've had an outstanding group of academics, early educators, school volunteers. We've worked for 7 months. We have researched, we have read, we have met with outside experts, we have drafted a 20-page report which will come to the Excellence in Student Achievement Committee next week. A couple months ago, we began meeting with Jen Gorlius and Dr. Otua, and we were thrilled to find that we really agreed on the right direction for addressing this kindergarten to second grade curriculum. So we are not here in opposition to the school district. We're here saying we really support what your good staff is trying to do, and we hope that that can be incorporated into the budget. Our direction is that we should be creating our own curriculum, which is what we have found in much of our research. We want to utilize the strengths of the Rochester curriculum, which was developed here several years ago, and incorporate other important elements. That's very much the trend in the other districts that we looked at. Last week, we heard that the funding, which we had expected $2 or $3 million for development and implementation of a new curriculum, had been cut. Several years ago, the city school district correctly identified grade 3 reading as a top priority. Rock the Future agreed and made grade 3 reading a top priority. Our children need an engaging, relevant, developmentally appropriate materials if they're going to read by grade 3. This is urgent. I know you look at this budget and say maybe something can be put off. 9,000 children have already experienced this inappropriate curriculum. Let us not add another 3,000 next year. Please make this your budget priority. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Los Guys? We have with us the Honorable Lois Geis, former
Thank you.
President of City Council.
Commissioners, thank you for this opportunity to come before you. Tonight, I'm here as a member of the Rock the Future School Readiness Collaborative Action Network K-2 Curriculum Subcommittee, which is quite a mouthful. But mostly, I'm here because I'm a volunteer at school number 8, and I'm asking you please restore the $3 million for the redesign of the K-2 Rochester curriculum in this year's budget. In 2014, my church, in response to the Reading Readiness Call to Action, formed a support team of 12 members to work in one school and with the K-3 classrooms. We have formed a wonderful partnership with School 8. Most of us are there for at least a half a day, once a week. I have been volunteering with the city school district since the late 1960s, with a short hiatus at City Council. And I'm glad to be back again with kids. Now imagine my horror when my first week with second graders, we listened and learned about the War of 1812. 45 minutes every morning in prime learning time for 4 weeks. The good news is you've recognized that core knowledge engaged New York curriculum is culturally and developmentally wrong for our children. Now, most of our suburban neighbors never did embrace engaged New York. I'm pleased to say we are in sync with Dr. Otua and Jen Gorlius, and we've begun very productive meetings with them. I know you have a significant budget deficit, but look at the recurring costs of the Engaged New York curriculum. One skills workbook, $30 per student, 6 workbooks in the second grade. Readers need to be replaced and licenses renewed. Please restore the $3 million to the budget so Dr. Otua can continue the good work. 4 years Engaged New York has equaled too many poor readers, can't read by 4th grade, hard to catch up. Thank you.
Thank you. Nancy Stanton-Moulter? Nancy Stanton-Moulter.
Hi. I'm an early learning specialist. I've been working with young children and early childhood educators for over 45 years, 17 and a half here in Rochester. I'm here to share some additional rationale for the need for a rewrite of K-2 curriculum and to request support for funding as soon as possible. As others have said, based on the curriculum we've been using in recent years, our children in kindergarten and first and second grade deserve a curriculum geared to developmentally appropriate and one that's engaging. 5, 6, and 7-year-olds are still very young, but they're already forming their attitudes about school and attitudes about learning. Without meeting these two criteria for a curriculum, developmentally appropriate and engaging, many children learn by second and third grade to dislike school, especially boys. During these early foundation years, school experiences do make a difference for many children, how well they will succeed and if they graduate. Clearly, we need curriculum and strategies in early childhood that motivate our youngest learners to like school, to enjoy the fun of learning, and fun is important. Fun creates dopamine in the brain, dopamine decreases stress, and decreased stress enhances learning skills. Experienced educators know it's the immense joy of learning to read that's the prime motivation for reading to learn, required in third grade. This is what we're all working toward. For a 5-year-old to enjoy learning and want to come to school, it's not rigor that makes the difference. It's because their interests and needs are being addressed. First and foremost, we must provide them with multiple opportunities to move, to use their whole bodies. Sitting still in a chair, watching a smartboard does not enhance learning. Brain research shows us being engaged in movement enhances learning. Is that my end?
That's your end, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Please fund this.
Sarah Fitz-Romick.
Tell Tom I said this is more complicated than telepresence.
Hello, Mr. President. We hear you.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Fitz-Romick. I taught kindergarten at School 33 for 12 years. I now work at the Rochester Toy Library at the Lincoln Branch. In my position, I advocate for the importance of play for young children's healthy development. I'm also a volunteer on Rock the Future's Curriculum Review Committee, and these are my colleagues. I'm here today to support the Curriculum Council's efforts to develop a new curriculum for the district. They know the Engage New York is developmentally inappropriate and should be abandoned. In order to move forward, the Curriculum Council needs a budget to pull a team of teachers together to rewrite the Rochester curriculum. I want to walk you through an Engage New York kindergarten lesson on the sense of sight so that you understand what I mean by developmentally inappropriate. Here's the stage. After a 10-minute review of the previous day's introduction to the 5 senses, the children are shown images on a flip chart. They look at a boy leaping on a rock, a boy looking to cross a street, a head with round eyeballs, a girl with eyes shut, a boy crying, a diagram of an eye, an image showing eye colors, and a dual image of an eye in light and an eye in dark with different sized pupils. After doing nothing but sitting and listening to the teacher talk about these pictures, the teacher asks the students 10 questions. The first 7 are literal. The answers are eye sockets, eyelids, eyelashes, eyebrows, tear ducts, pupil, iris. Please note that they are asked to respond in complete sentences using vocabulary they may have heard for the first time just minutes before. The next 2 questions are inferential. Why do your pupils change in size? What should you do to keep your eyes safe from harm? The teacher has one last question. Why do your, it is evaluative. How do your eyes protect you or keep you safe? She asked them to think about this for 1 minute and then turn to a neighbor and discuss. This is not good teaching. During that time, the children did nothing but listen to the teacher and respond to her questions. They did not move, they did not explore their sense of sight, they did not have opportunities for self-discovery. None of that was playful or fun. The district.
I'm
and
going
the-
to ask you to wrap it up.
Yep.
Quickly.
The district and Rock the Future Committee agree that Engage New York's days are numbered, but how long do we have to wait? Work needs to start immediately. Please fund Dr. Atua's team. Thank you.
Thank you. Rosemary Rivera.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Rosemary Rivera, and I'm a grandmother of two children in the public schools, grandchildren in the public school system. I'm here speaking on behalf of the Community Task Force. I know well the financial burdens of a school district, and despite the fact that the governor is touting this budget increase as a huge increase, I understand that years of underfunding and the gap cannot be easily closed. Each year, I am happy to go out and fight for more funding, but I also want that funding spent wisely. If I send my child to school and she is in an environment that is not conducive to learning, then the teachings are lost and we are not spending wisely. If I send my child to a school and she shuts down because she doesn't have a positive relationship with her teacher, we're not spending wisely. If I send my child to a school and she is suspended for a vague or minor infraction and can't catch up, we're not spending wisely. And if I send my child to school and she has no voice, no outlet for creativity, or does not see herself reflected in what is being taught, we're not spending wisely. So in order to ensure sound basic education for our students, we must prioritize our school and classroom climate. Every dollar spent on teaching a child math or science is crucial. Yet learning math or science is nearly impossible, no matter how good the lesson is, if that child is more preoccupied by the impact of what is going on around her. When the district and the community task force entered into our good faith agreement well over a year ago, we agreed to make school and classroom environment a district and community priority. Community task force members, which includes district personnel and school board members, agreed to prioritize school climate and to work on this together for no less than 5 years, because it will take a very long time to change culture and climate and to provide the supports necessary at the school building level. Please include restorative practices in the rest of the recommendations. Think about how we can prioritize that, and thank you for Jackie, Katie, and their group as well. Thanks.
Thank you. That concludes our public hearing. The next budget hearing is going to be on April 26th at, that's not it? Oh, so when is the next public hearing? Oh, okay, then I apologize. This is the last public hearing. We want to thank everybody for coming out and speaking, and we'll take those concerns under advisement. We do have a budget gap that we have to close, so we'll have to take all that into consideration. But the next budget deliberation is going to be on April 26th at 6 p.m. Here on the third floor? Second floor? Third floor. Thank you very much. That concludes this budget hearing. And now we'll start with the superintendent search. We're open for the superintendent search, so if there are any people that would like to speak with us about the characteristics that you feel that should, in terms of this board identifying and hiring a new superintendent, what those characteristics should be. So it's open, so if you would like to come up and have a conversation, please feel free. Hi again.
So,
And 3 minutes.
that's cool.
Okay.
So I feel like the superintendent should come in, whoever it is, with the attitude that he is open and willing to learn, as well as teach us some things that we don't know, as well as I feel as if he should come in as the role of a superintendent and not the role of a jail warden, you know? Like, we don't need our schools locked down. We need to have a better environment for our kids, which so many people have already said. So whoever you guys hire or choose, he needs to be in it for more than just the money or more than just the stature, you know? So That's it.
He or she.
He or she, whomever is the best candidate, you know.
Thank you so
Okay.
very much.
Hi, guys. I just quickly want to say, my name's Erica Simmons. I'm here representing myself as a parent, not as the chair of the Parent Advisory Council. I like to try to keep those two separate, but equal at the same time. I think the next superintendent needs to come in with a sense of hope for our district and not come in with the face of trying to fix and fill gaps and fill holes. And I really feel as if it needs to be a collaboration across the board, meaning with the Board of Education, with people who are in central office, with people who are in the buildings, and with parents. We need somebody who's really going to actually listen to the people who are giving you the children to teach, and really work to collaborate with us to make this district and overall the community a more open and successful place for all of the children in this district. He or she, I hope the board chooses someone who has experience working in an urban district. That would be really useful. Someone who has experience overall working with students, either directly or indirectly. And I really just would like to have someone who, like I said, is coming with an open mind of there's good here and there's challenges, but overall we have the potential to be great. And not to come in and say, I have to fix this to make a name for myself, or I have to do this to look good, or, you know, to keep face. Because that's where your own agenda comes in. And that's where individuals start playing that chess game. And our babies are those pawns that you're playing with. So I really hope that the next person that you bring in is going to be here for the long haul. You know, my son will just be starting kindergarten in the fall. And I really want him and my daughter to be proud of the place, their native place where they were born, where they're going to get their education. And I really would like a superintendent to listen to parents and to value us in a way that you're going to bring us to the table to work best with what our children deserve as a whole. So that's it. Thank you.
Appreciate that. I'm going to stop for a minute and introduce the Western New York Educational Services Council. They're the firm who we've hired for the superintendent search process, Vince Coppola and Robert Chrisman, who will talk to us about the process.
Good evening. I'm Bob Chrisman, Executive Director of the Western New York Educational Service Council, which is housed at the University of Buffalo. We were honored by the Rochester Board of Education to assist them in the search for the next superintendent. We've been hard at work for almost 10 weeks now, preparing to provide some candidates for the board to consider. I would make it clear right from the beginning that this decision is 100% entirely that of the Board of Education. We help them, but we're not the decision makers, and the 7 members of the board will in their experience and familiarity with the school district, I'm sure, make a very good decision to hire that next superintendent. To give just a little bit of a background, Dr. Coppola and I are both former superintendents. We have served for many years in that capacity. Prior to becoming the executive director at the University of Buffalo, I served as superintendent of 2 school districts. One was in Newark, New York, where I aspired to be in the 585 exchange, phone exchange. I never quite made it. I stayed a 315er for 17 years and then finished up my career in Grand Island, which is just north of Buffalo. We've been involved with the Buffalo City School District as well. We have, as an organization, conducted over 400 superintendent searches, mostly in New York State. Last week, Dr. Coppola and I spent time interviewing candidates for superintendent's positions in New York City. We've been working with the New York City Department of Education for approximately 2.5 years, and we have in fact interviewed every single one of their 42 superintendents at least once, and in some cases multiple interviews. We have found that to be a very good background for being able to work in the city of Rochester. I'm going to stop for a second, and Dr. Coppola is going to share briefly the process that we're using that will lead to the appointment of a new superintendent.
Hello, everybody. My name is Vince Coppola. Bob and I have been working together probably for the last 3 years, but we've known each other almost for a lifetime. The board interviewed several firms and then made a decision to hire us despite the lousy interview that we had. So we're grateful that they overlooked some of our weaknesses and decided to hire us anyway. But we really appreciate the opportunity to work here in Rochester. We want you to know a little bit about the process that the board approved because it's important for them to approve every step of the process, and we've gotten great cooperation from the members of the board. The first thing we did was to meet with individual members of the board and ask them a series of questions regarding the search and what they were looking for in the next superintendent of schools. We also were interested in knowing what the challenges were here in the Rochester City Schools. We got some very frank, honest, open, and transparent answers. We not only worked with the school board on those questions, but we also took time to interview parents, clergy, community members, members of the bargaining units, teachers, administrators, support staff. And we also had an online survey that was put on the website here at Rochester. We had 184 people who responded to that survey. All of the information from meeting with the focus groups and all of the information that came on the online survey was collated, put together, and was presented to the Board of Education for them to review and hopefully capture some issues and concerns that all those various stakeholder groups had, in addition to some of the good things that they had to say about the Rochester City Schools. We, at that point, we developed a schedule that the board approved in terms of the actual important milestones in the search. And we're at the point now where April 22nd is the deadline date for applications. The board and Bob and I will be meeting in executive session on May 5th to go over the applicants. The board will have an opportunity to see every single person that applied for the job. Our job is to screen the applicants, recruit applicants, interview applicants, and then begin to check references. We don't just check the references that they list on their resume. We call other people in their organizations that may know them, that may not have been listed as a reference. We want to get a balanced view of the candidate from a variety of sources. We don't just check the candidate's present position and how well they're doing there. We like to go back to their previous jobs that they had so that we have an opportunity to determine what their growth pattern has been over a period of years. So May 9th and 11th is the first round of interviews with the board after we meet with them on May 5th. The board will look at the applicants. We'll certainly recommend a certain number to them, but they have a right to interview whoever they want. And then our job is to call approximately 6 people and schedule them for an interview that the board will interview on May 9th and 11th. After the board has interviewed approximately 6 people, and again, they can interview as many as they want or as few as they want, but generally, it'll be around that number 6. And after they've interviewed the 6, they will reduce the number to 3. Those candidates will come in on May 23rd, May 24th, and May 25th, one each day. And from there, the board will begin to zero in on a finalist. The board has the option of going to visit the district of the person that they're zeroing in on, and be able to meet with other stakeholders in that district if they so choose, so they can get some additional information. This board is very serious about wanting to do a thorough search. They want to get this right, and we feel the pressure. We feel the pressure as 2 former superintendents to want to be sure that we're doing our very best job to recruit candidates who will be a good fit for the Rochester City Schools, because 28,000 children in the school district are at stake. That's what this is all about. Some people have indicated it shouldn't be just about the superintendent or how much money the superintendent's going to make, or if the superintendent comes here to make their mark so that they can turn around and go somewhere else. We want somebody who's going to make a commitment to the children of Rochester, to the families of Rochester, and be able to get the job done, and to pull all these various groups that have an interest in the education of the 28,000 children and pull them all together so that we can have a common vision, a common plan, some common strategies as to how we can help our children here do much better. So that's kind of what it is. And if you have any questions for us, I let Bob answer the questions because I don't know anything, okay? Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll open it back up for individuals that may be interested in sharing what your thoughts may be for our next superintendent. What characteristics, qualifications they should have, what criteria?
Thank you. My name is Vicki Robertson, and I have a student at School 12 and at Wilson Magnet High School. You know, I think you guys have heard an awful lot of qualities and characteristics, and the gentleman talked about their survey, and I believe you guys know what we need to find as a new superintendent. What I want to ask and challenge you about, and I'm so glad to have heard your presentation earlier, is the process. I was on the Superintendent Search Committee last time we did this, and we did a lot of work, but I think especially when we got down to the interview process, I didn't feel like we did a high-quality job. Our interview process was pretty much who could talk the best. I didn't feel that there was a lot of research going back and really looking at what someone had done. So that's my challenge to you as board members. Please, do your homework. Go see. He mentioned you could go visit. I would probably even think about going visiting earlier as you're making not just the one, but whatever is possible. Definitely go there. Don't just, I'm sure these gentlemen do a great job, but you need to get your own impressions, talk to the local people. Maybe you can ask as part of the interview, or ask them to present some information, show that they know how to do the actual work. That's what you often do when you have to interview for a high-level job in industry. You have to come in with, okay, this would be my marketing plan for this new product line. So let's have someone demonstrate they have their skills to you, not just that they have the skills to talk. So, you know, that is really, I think, my challenge, is to do your homework. And then my second challenge is to find someone you can agree on. Because this superintendent needs the full support, this new superintendent needs the full support of the board. And if it's just 4 votes, it's not going to work. So just as I know in my church, when we call a new pastor to the church, and our church gets to vote on that person, the ministers, they won't stay unless they get like 90% vote, you know? So if it's going to be 4-3, keep looking, because you're just setting that person up for failure. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who's interested in speaking?
Good evening, Madam
Good evening.
President,
Good
Vice
evening.
President Cynthia Elliott, President White, Board. A couple of the qualities that I would encourage you to look for in a superintendent would be somebody who's a good communicator. He has to get the buy-in from all the people in the communities, parents, teachers, as well as other administrators. An aspiring leader, somebody who's well-respected and has a track record of success. Some failure is okay. We all fail at something at one time or another. Somebody that's knowledgeable. He has to have an ongoing passion for learning. Somebody who knows who he's going to surround himself with. A lot of times people get into these positions and they get in there and they're like, oh, okay, I got to get this person, I got to get that person. They should have a plan coming into that position instead of getting that position and then trying to come up with a plan. Somebody that's engaged with all the community partnerships, somebody that has budget experience, somebody that knows how to balance a budget and work with consentively to push the objectives of what's best for the district instead of what's best for the individual. Also, from what my research has showed me, it takes about 18 months for somebody to fully understand a job, between 15 and 25,000 hours. I also would look inside first before we look outside for help with the superintendent search with the district, because the people on the inside are the ones that knows what's going on and could immediately impact the results from what we need in a superintendent of the district versus having somebody have to come in and learn completely from scratch. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Natalia Vasquez. I am an ex-student from Rochester City School District. And what I would like to see in a superintendent is somebody open-minded, somebody who can change this district to better. Because there are a lot of problems in this district, and I'm not blaming one person. It's just there's a lot of processes that need change. I want somebody that has the idea, that has the creativity, and actually listens to everyone, who can think of an idea or let people or even students create one and actually listen and try something, who can figure out solutions, who can actually bring the Rochester City School District to better. Because at the end of the day, there's, as you said, 208,000 children here. We gotta fix this for them. Because I'm graduating soon, but I got nieces and nephews in the city school district too. And all I want for them is to be able to succeed.
We have about 28,000 students.
28,000. So all I want in a superintendent is somebody who's willing to fight for all of them. Not just for one, not just for a group, for all of them.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have someone else who's interested in speaking about the superintendent search and the qualities that you would like to see in the next superintendent? Hi.
My name is Bernice Malcolm. Some of the qualities that I would like to see in the next superintendent is someone that can empower people to greatness. A leader that is able to change the dynamic and grain of the city school district in order to help people to see the best of themselves and to be able to lead our staff and our children to a place where we can be proud of. I want it all. I want it all for our kids. I want it all for our staff. I want a superintendent who can look within and start changing from top down. Because if you don't start changing from top and it goes down, it'll never change. Everything will stay the same. So being a new person to the district this year, I'm honored, but I want someone who is going to stand tall and empower us as educators to be able to educate our children and work with our families. Our families are our first defense. I know sometimes people don't see it that way, but working with families is awesome because they want the same thing for their children that we do, and sometimes we just go about it in a different way. But in the end, it's all the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that'd like to speak on behalf of who we will select for the next superintendent? Those qualities.
So you guys know me, I spoke earlier. What I want, honestly, as a student from a superintendent, and I'm 15, I want someone who cares about my education, my future, my success, not just for the money. I get money is good, I want money, but I mean, we have children to need to care about because one day you all are going to be gone, and who's going to take over? Those kids on the streets aren't there because they want to be there. Those kids are in the streets because of the situation they're in. The school doesn't provide them as much as attention that they need, as much help as they need. I want a superintendent that cares for success, not so much the money. Money is nothing compared to success. I mean, one day I'm going to sit here, recognize your faces, and have my future kids probably come to the district, and hopefully they could be as successful. That's what all parents and students want. I doubt they want to be on the streets. Right. And that's where we're leaning towards if we don't get a person who cares about our success. That's it.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Carol Elizabeth Owens, and I definitely have a vested interest in what happens here in the district because I have several grandchildren attending Rochester City School District schools. One of the things that I really hope our next superintendent has is the skill and acumen and courage to peel away levels and layers of redundancy that appear to exist in the system, where efforts are being duplicated and even triplicated and results are not really being adequately achieved. Also, to eliminate the fiscal dilemma that I believe is endemic to the system, such that so much money is being spent to maintain the Rochester City School District system, and look at the results that we're really achieving year after year. There has to be a way to engage in radical reform, and I mean radical reform, really work the system, someone who can have oversight of what's going on, make an analysis, and eliminate the inefficiencies and the financial burden, quite frankly, which has become the system. And again, our children appear to be underserved, and it simply doesn't make sense with the amount of money that's being poured into the district. Other districts do far better with far less, and I believe that we should be able to strive to at least achieve a modicum of some of their successes. And so that's really what I have to say at the moment.
Thank you very much. All good input, insights.
Hello, my name is Megan Reddington. I'm a parent of 3 students in the district, and I'm recently have been hired as a pre-K teacher in the district. I'm here because I want to share that I hope the quality our new superintendent has is one that can unite us. There is such a negative perception of our students and our district as a whole, and I think it's time that we really look for someone who can be a leader that brings us all together. Teachers, students, families, the board. I think we have to look really hard at a candidate who can bring us together. And we may not agree on everything, but I think at the center of it all has to be someone who's always talking about kids. Kids are always going to be what is at the center of it all. And along with kids come families, and families have to be at the center of what it all is, at all of it. Our next superintendent has to be someone who has relationships in the community. I hope that it's somebody who is not going to climb the ladder and is not going to be looking for the next great thing, the next district to move on to. I hope that it is someone that's really invested in Rochester and keeps kids at the center of it all. So I challenge the board to, I know you're going to set the direction of the next superintendent, but I hope that it will be someone that will unite this community, because I think we're really lined up right now for a big change. And I hope that this is the time that we can really identify a candidate who can do that. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak to the qualities of the superintendent? I want you to know we are taking notes here and appreciate the feedback. And it's so funny, a lot of what folks are saying here has been consistent with what was said in focus groups and also in terms of what we've seen through the survey. So it's great, and it's obvious that to what the speaker said, we do want it all. Is there anyone else who wishes to address us on this opportunity? I will say that if you don't have the opportunity tonight, or if you're not going to be able to, if you know folks who aren't here tonight, we will have another one of these sessions on Saturday at 10 a.m. at East High School. So this is not our last opportunity, and you can also continue to email board members and send information to the search firm as we roll out this process. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Kate Cressman-Kehoe. I have a 8th grader at School of the Arts and an 11th grader at Wilson. And I don't actually wish to address you because I hate public speaking, but I think this is important, so I'm up here anyway. And I was thinking about what Vicki said about really trying to make them work in the interview, and I think that's really important because a lot of people can talk a good game. And I can think of some past superintendents who talked a really good game. But give them some hard choices and see what they do. Give them a budget to cut. See if they understand what engages kids.
Yeah.
See if they really believe that there is room for academic excellence, that our kids can be excellent. See if they understand already that our kids don't necessarily have coats. Give them some of the problems that you've struggled with and try and see what they would do with it. Because I think how they are going to make a decision and what they value will come through by giving them some problems.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the board on qualities of a superintendent? Anyone else? Going once? Going twice? Going 3 times? Thank you very much. And again, you will have this opportunity again on Saturday at 10 a.m. at East High School. There is a McDonald's across the street, so if anyone wants to bring me breakfast, please feel free to do that. And we'll see you all Saturday, and if you're not coming Saturday, please feel free to tell others. Commissioner Elliott, I don't know if there's anything you want to say before.
Nope, I think you said it all, Commissioner Evans, and thank you, and that concludes this superintendent search hearing. Thank you. Good evening.